September 17, 1944, 14,000 feet above Eindhoven, the Netherlands. The air crackled with the energy of history's largest airborne assault, Operation Market Garden. The Dutch countryside below was suddenly littered with parachutes, a spectacle supported by a deafening symphony of Allied air power. Prowling the skies above the landing zones were squadrons of Republic P-47 Thunderbolts, their wings thick and heavy, not just with fuel, but with an astonishing array of ordnance. A single P-47 carried up to 2,500 pounds of bombs, an external load equivalent to half the typical bomb payload of a B-17 Flying Fortress on a long-range mission. For the flustered Luftwaffe pilots scrambling to intercept, this sight was not just a threat. It was a conceptual nightmare. The fighter they had confidently dismissed just 18 months prior as too heavy and clumsy for true air combat had been transformed. It had become something that defied their fundamental understanding of air warfare. A single-seat, single-engine aircraft capable of fighting its way to a target, delivering a substantial bomb load with precision, and then fighting its way back home. The evolution of the P-47 from a pure high-altitude interceptor to the most devastating fighter bomber in the European Theater of Operations, ETO, would not merely alter tactical maneuvers. It would accelerate the Wehrmacht's collapse and permanently revolutionize military aviation doctrine across the globe. The stigma of size. Initial impressions. What the Luftwaffe never grasped was that American industrial pragmatism had engineered not just a fighter, nor simply a bomber, but an entirely new breed of universal combat aircraft. When the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt first entered combat in April 1943, it seemed to validate every German prejudice regarding American aircraft design. It was massive, powerful, and heavy, arguably lacking the finesse and sleek streamlining characteristic of German engineering. When the 4th Fighter Group flew the type's first official combat mission on April 8, 1943, German intelligence officers analyzing the new American fighter reached highly predictable, yet ultimately flawed conclusions. The technical specifications alone suggested mediocrity, or at least severe limitations. The P-47 weighed in at 10,000 pounds empty, double the weight of its primary adversary, the Messerschmitt Bf-109G. It was powered by the immense Pratt & Whitney R2800 double Wasp engine, an 18-cylinder radial producing 2,000 horsepower, a figure that would later climb to 2,300 and eventually 2,800 horsepower in later variants. This tremendous power had to propel an airframe that looked, by all accounts, like a flying tank. Initial combat encounters seemed to reinforce German assumptions. The P-47's early combat radius of a mere 125 miles severely limited its effectiveness as a bomber escort, forcing B-17's to fly unprotected over much of Germany. Its rate of climb lagged behind German fighters, and in turning engagements at medium altitudes, both the Focke-Wulf 190 and the Bf-109 held clear, distinct advantages. German pilots quickly devised tactics to exploit these weaknesses, seeking to force the heavy American fighter into slow, horizontal turning battles or complex vertical maneuvering where its sheer weight became a critical liability. The strength within the bulk. What the Luftwaffe's technical experts fundamentally failed to grasp was that they were observing an aircraft in its relative infancy, an aircraft designed with inherent capabilities that would not be fully recognized or exploited for another year. The very factor that made it heavy, its remarkably robust construction, built around heavy-duty steel tubing and extensive armor plating, was also its greatest strength. This durability allowed it to absorb catastrophic amounts of battle damage and, critically, carry extraordinary external loads. The wing pylons, initially conceived primarily for carrying auxiliary drop tanks to extend the aircraft's critical range, were so heavily engineered that they were rated to carry up to 2,500 pounds of ordnance, a load that would have torn the wings clean off most of its contemporary single-engine rivals. The grand transformation began not with a centralized strategic decision, but with highly pragmatic adaptation in the field. As 1943 progressed, P-47 pilots, returning from their escort missions, began instinctively strafing targets of opportunity on the ground: railway locomotives, truck convoys, and exposed fuel depots. The immediate results proved compellingly promising. The P-47's fixed armament of 8 Browning M2.50 caliber machine guns, each firing at 800 rounds per minute, could deliver an astonishing 12.7 pounds of lethal lead per second. This concentrated firepower was sufficient to penetrate a locomotive's boiler, instantly disabling it, or completely shred a truck convoy within seconds. The first official modifications to enable bomb-carrying capabilities arrived in November 1943. Engineers installed bomb shackles rated for up to 500-pound bombs on the centerline belly station and on the 2 wing pylons. On November 25, 1943, the 62nd Fighter Squadron executed the first official P-47 bombing mission, a successful attack against the Luftwaffe airfield at Saint-Omer, France. 8 Thunderbolts, each carrying 2 250-pound bombs, successfully destroyed 2 hangars and damaged 5 aircraft on the ground. The winter of 1943-44 saw Republic Aviation and the USAAF Technical Services accelerate the P-47's transformation at a relentless pace. Engineers meticulously reinforced wing spars to safely handle asymmetric loads, a critical requirement when only 1 bomb was dropped during a mission. They developed entirely new electrical systems for bomb release mechanisms that had to function reliably across a massive operational envelope from 30,000 feet to treetop level. They created highly specialized gun sights, notably the K-14 computing gun sight, designed to accurately calculate the required bombing angles for high-speed dive and glide attacks. The Arsenal of Destruction, D-Day, and Falaise. By early 1944, the modifications had progressed far beyond simple bomb racks. The introduction of the M8 4.5-inch rockets, each packing the punch equivalent to a 105mm artillery shell, gave the P-47 the focused firepower of a naval destroyer. A single Thunderbolt could now carry a lethal combination of 10 rockets plus 2 1,000-pound bombs, representing more concentrated explosive power than many twin-engine light bombers carried early in the war. D-Day, June 6, 1944, marked the inescapable moment when the Luftwaffe fully comprehended the radical transformation the P-47 had undergone. On that single day, P-47 groups flew an unprecedented 1,985 sorties, dropping 525 tons of bombs and firing a staggering 135,000 rounds of .50 caliber ammunition. They destroyed 86 locomotives, disabled 507 motor vehicles, neutralized 38 gun positions, and obliterated 17 fuel dumps. The aircraft that German intelligence had casually categorized as a mediocre high-altitude interceptor had overnight become the indispensable workhorse of tactical air power. The legendary Luftwaffe pilot Günther Röhrl, one of history's highest-scoring aces with 275 victories, encountered P-47s frequently throughout 1944. In a 1996 interview with HistoryNet, he recalled, "The P-47, which as you know shot me down, we knew right away. It had tremendous diving speed and could run up to 1,400 kilometers per hour, where the Bf-109 was limited to 1,000 kilometers per hour. I learned this quickly when they chased me, and I could do nothing else." On May 12, 1944, Röhrl was indeed shot down by P-47s from the 56 Fighter Group, an engagement that cost him his left thumb, a potent symbol of the Juggernaut's effectiveness. After the war, Röhrl spent approximately 300 hours flying captured P-47s at the German Fighter Leaders School, meticulously evaluating Allied aircraft capabilities. The P-47's signature ability to instantly transform from a vulnerable-looking bomber to a heavily armed, durable fighter created an insoluble tactical dilemma for the Luftwaffe. German fighters dispatched to intercept what appeared to be slow, heavily laden fighter bombers often found themselves engaged in deadly air combat against aircraft that had just jettisoned their bombs and reverted to pure fighters with superior firepower and truly remarkable durability. The P-47's sheer payload capacity created a logistical mathematical impossibility for the beleaguered German supply network. A standard P-47 D-25 could carry various lethal bomb configurations, totaling 2,500 pounds. This represented 62.5% of a B-17's typical 4,000-pound operational load on long-range missions, justifying the early reasonable approximation of half the Flying Fortress's bomb load. Critically, a squadron of 16 P-47s could deliver 32,000 pounds of bombs per mission, equivalent to 8 B-17's operating at their typical combat loads. But unlike heavy bombers that flew from England maybe twice weekly, P-47s could fly 3 missions per day from forward airfields right behind the advancing front lines. A single P-47 squadron could theoretically deliver more explosive tonnage in a single day than a heavy bomber squadron might deliver in a week. The efficiency differential was startling. One P-47, carrying 2 500-pound bombs, required 1 pilot and a minimal ground crew for maintenance. One B-17, carrying 4,000 pounds of bombs, required 10 aircrew plus extensive, specialized ground support personnel. The fighter bomber delivered significant, targeted destructive power with a fraction of the necessary manpower investment. August 1944 brought the P-47's most devastating, concentrated demonstration of fighter-bomber effectiveness during the catastrophic Falaise Pocket operation. As German forces attempted their desperate escape from encirclement between August 12th and 21st, they faced continuous brutal attack from P-47s operating in relentless shifts from dawn to dusk. Authenticated kill claims from fillets, verified meticulously by ground reconnaissance, included August 13th, 112 tanks confirmed destroyed. August 14th, 287 motor vehicles confirmed destroyed. August 15th, 42 locomotives confirmed destroyed. August 16th, 89 horse-drawn vehicles destroyed. The U.S. 9th Air Force's P-47 groups operated on a calculated relay system, with fresh squadrons arriving overhead as others departed to instantly rearm and refuel. This maintained constant, suffocating pressure on German forces attempting any form of daylight movement. Post-battle analysis confirmed that approximately one-third of all German vehicles destroyed within the pocket were victims of air attack, with P-47s accounting for the overwhelming majority of these kills. Tank killers and the Battle of the Bulge. September 1944 witnessed the widespread deployment of the powerful 5-inch high-velocity aircraft rocket, HVAR, permanently transforming P-47s into true tank destroyers. Each HVAR carried a formidable 60-pound warhead capable of penetrating the armor of any German tank, including the supposedly invulnerable Tiger and Panther models. A single P-47 could carry 10 HVARs, delivering the focused equivalent of an entire artillery battalion barrage in a single, terrifying pass. The 362nd Fighter Group pioneered systematic rocket attacks against German armor. Their after-action reports meticulously documented the effective technique, diving from 5,000 feet at a precise 30-degree angle, releasing rockets at 1,500 feet, achieving direct hits on an astounding 30 to 40% of launches, rates far exceeding contemporary artillery accuracy. The Battle of the Bulge in December 1944 powerfully demonstrated the P-47's maturation into an all-weather fighter bomber. Despite paralyzing freezing fog and snow that grounded most aircraft, P-47s equipped with British-developed rocket rails and improved instrumentation continued to operate. When the weather briefly cleared on December 23rd, P-47s flew an astounding 647 sorties, claiming over 400 vehicles destroyed. The cumulative statistics from December 23 to 27, 1944, reveal the P-47's decisive impact during the crisis. 201 German tanks confirmed destroyed, 1,930 motor vehicles destroyed, 953 horse-drawn vehicles destroyed, 89 locomotives destroyed, 512 rail cars destroyed, 47 bridges damaged or destroyed. January 1945 revealed yet another critical P-47 capability: precision bridge busting using 1,000-pound bombs. The 56th Fighter Group developed precise techniques for destroying vital Rhine bridges that had stubbornly survived repeated heavy bomber attacks. 8 P-47s could accurately deliver bombs with a 50-foot accuracy margin in steep 60-degree dives, far exceeding the precision of high-altitude heavy bombers that were often lucky to hit within 1,000 feet of their aim point. The jet age and total paralysis. The deployment of the advanced Me-262 jet fighter in early 1945 should have theoretically changed the air balance completely. With a 100-mile-per-hour speed advantage over P-47s, the jets seemed immune to interception, but the P-47's evolution into a fighter bomber created an unexpected vulnerability for the jets. Me-262S required long exposed concrete runways and consumed fuel at truly prodigious rates. Their bases consequently became the primary, high-priority targets for P-47 fighter bombers. On March 21, 1945, P-47s of the 365th Fighter Group caught JG-7's Me-262s during the most vulnerable stage of takeoff from Leipheim Airfield. The jets, accelerating down the runway, were unable to maneuver or achieve the requisite speed to escape. 8 Me-262s were destroyed in just 5 minutes, a greater loss than the Luftwaffe could produce in an entire week. March 1945's Operation Clarion saw the final, systematic destruction of the entire German transportation network by fighter bombers. P-47s were assigned specific sectors with simple orders: destroy anything that moved or could move. On March 22 alone, P-47s claimed 89 locomotives destroyed, 1,026 rail cars destroyed, 155 motor vehicles destroyed, 17 bridges dropped, and 93 rail tracks severed. The P-47's remarkable transformation required continuous, innovative development. The P-47 D-25, introduced in mid-1944, featured reinforced wings stressed for a massive 3,000 pounds external load, universal bomb shackles accepting both British and American ordnance, zero-length rocket launchers to reduce drag, improved oil cooling for extended low-altitude operations, paddle blade propellers for better acceleration, water injection boosting power to 2,800 horsepower, and the critical K-14 computing gun sight for accurate bombing. Republic Aviation's Farmingdale and Evansville plants demonstrated staggering industrial flexibility. Peak production reached an astonishing 35 P-47s per day. They produced 28 major variants and developed 430 field modification kits, maintaining continuous, non-stop production for an incredible 48 months, a feat unmatched by any other fighter manufacturer of the time. Training and doctrine. The true revolution. Crucially, transforming P-47 pilots from single-role fighter specialists to highly competent multi-role combat aviators required revolutionary new training approaches. The USAAF established rigorous programs requiring a minimum of 200 flight hours before combat deployment, including 50 practice bombing runs, 20 rocket firing passes, 100 strafing runs, 40 hours of instrument flying, and 30 hours of formation flying. This comprehensive training contrasted sharply with the desperate late-war Luftwaffe pilot preparation, which had declined to just 110 flight hours before combat, with virtually no specialized fighter bomber training for fighter pilots. American pilots demonstrated competence in high-altitude escort, medium-altitude combat, low-level navigation, dive bombing, skip bombing, glide bombing, rocket firing, napalm delivery, and ground strafing, seamlessly transitioning between roles as mission demands required. February 1945 saw the battlefield introduction of napalm bombs carried by P-47s. The 150-gallon drop tanks filled with jellied gasoline created weapons capable of incinerating entire city blocks or dense forest positions. The 362nd Fighter Group first employed napalm operationally on February 14, 1945, against a Wehrmacht supply depot hidden within the Reichswald forest. 8 P-47s, each carrying one napalm tank and one 500-pound bomb, created a firestorm visible from 20 miles away, destroying 3 acres of supplies in minutes. March to May 1945 witnessed the P-47 at its evolutionary peak. The P-47M, capable of 470 miles per hour, entered service, its performance matching early jets. The P-47N, designed for the vast Pacific theater, demonstrated an incredible 2,350-mile range with bombs. But it was its tactical employment that truly revolutionized warfare. P-47S operated as forward air controllers directing other aircraft, artillery spotters for ground forces, photo reconnaissance platforms, communication relays, psychological warfare platforms dropping leaflets, and emergency supply deliverers to surrounded units. The same aircraft type could realistically perform 6 different mission types in a single intense day. The inevitable conclusion. The comprehensive statistics of P-47 operations define this radical evolution. Production: 15,683 P-47s built, the most produced American fighter. Combat sorties: 746,000 plus. Loss rate per sortie: a remarkably low 0.7%. Air-to-air kill ratio: 4.6 to 1. Ordnance delivered: 132,000 tons of bombs, 135,000 rockets, 119 million .50 caliber rounds. Confirmed ground destruction, European theater: 9,000 locomotives, 86,000 railway cars, 68,000 motor vehicles, 6,000 armored vehicles, 60,000 horse-drawn vehicles. The P-47's evolution fundamentally shattered pre-war military strategy. Doctrine had rigidly separated strategic heavy bombers and tactical fighters' air power. The P-47 merged these roles, achieving strategic results through the accumulation of tactical means. The destruction of Germany's transportation infrastructure by P-47s accomplished what years of dedicated strategic bombing had struggled to achieve. By April 1945, German forces literally could not move in daylight. The tactical effect had become profoundly strategic through sheer accumulated destruction. The U.S. Strategic Bombing Survey analysis revealed that fighter-bomber operations, primarily executed by P-47s, reduced German rail traffic by an estimated 75% in forward areas by March 1945. This transportation paralysis contributed demonstrably more to Germany's total defeat than the isolated destruction of industrial targets by heavy bombers. The P-47's success forced fundamental permanent changes in military doctrine. The U.S. Air Force's first official doctrine manual in 1947 declared, "The artificial distinction between fighter and attack aircraft has been rendered obsolete. All fighters must be capable of ground attack. All attack aircraft must be capable of self-defense." This was a complete reversal of pre-war thinking, which had insisted that a fighter's sole purpose was air superiority. The P-47 proved that mission flexibility multiplied overall combat power exponentially. The P-47's concept proved so revolutionary that it indelibly shaped post-war aircraft design globally. When the Korean War began in 1950, the P-47's direct jet descendants, the F-84 Thunderjet and F-86 Sabre, configured as versatile fighter bombers, dominated tactical air warfare. The multi-role fighter concept pioneered by the P-47 became the indisputable standard doctrine. Republic Aviation's transformation of the P-47 stood as a testament to American industrial capability at its zenith. The company's founder, Alexander Kartveli, had designed the original aircraft with monumental strength margins. The Army Air Forces had only requested a 6G-capable aircraft. Kartveli built one stressed for 12G. They requested 500-pound bomb capability. He provided the structure for 2,500 pounds. This profound over-engineering allowed field modifications to radically transform the aircraft's capabilities faster than any formal design change could be implemented. The production statistics reveal the industrial miracle. 48 months of continuous production, 15,683 aircraft delivered, 28 major variants, and 430 field modification kits developed. The cost was reduced by 27% despite enormous capability increases. The P-47's legacy is immense. Its direct descendants include the A-10 Thunderbolt II, named explicitly after the P-47 to carry the ground attack mission forward, and the F-105 Thunderchief. Its conceptual inheritors include virtually every modern fighter, the F-16 Fighting Falcon, the F-15E Strike Eagle, and the F/A-18 Hornet, all designed as dual-role fighter attack aircraft from their inception. The P-47 established the template: build strong, build adaptable, and let operational requirements drive capability evolution. The comprehensive training program for P-47 fighter bomber pilots, emphasizing instrument flying, formation tactics, and precision weapons delivery, established the professional standards that defined modern military aviation. Luftwaffe veterans consistently identified the P-47 fighter bomber as the decisive factor in Germany's final defeat. Statistical analysis is conclusive. The P-47 delivered destruction at 15% the cost and 10% the manpower investment of heavy bombers. The P-47's journey from a pure fighter to a versatile fighter bomber capable of carrying half a B-17's operational bomb load represents far more than a mere tactical evolution. It embodies the American military genius for pragmatic adaptation and industrial capacity. The Luftwaffe never expected this transformation because it directly violated their core military doctrine of narrow specialization. German doctrine emphasized achieving perfection within singular roles: the best fighter, the best bomber. American doctrine, shaped by industrial power and pragmatism, championed adaptability and efficiency. The P-47 proved decisively that in modern total warfare, flexibility beats specialization. When Luftwaffe pilots encountered those heavy, purposeful P-47s over Eindhoven on September 17, 1944, they were facing not just an aircraft, but a revolution in military thought. The clumsy interceptor they had dismissed in 1943 had become the ultimate instrument of their destruction. not through superior performance in any single role, but through an unprecedented, unstoppable versatility. The P-47's final combat record in the European theater from 1943 to 1945 stands as one of the most successful, yet ironically understated, achievements in aviation history. The story of how the Luftwaffe never saw the true danger of the P-47 coming is the story of how specialization failed against American industrial adaptability. They sought the perfect fighter. America delivered the ultimate weapon system.